So good morning, everyone. You're welcome to today's edition of our Thursday Facebook Live series. So every Thursday at 11 a.m. we come up with one or two topics to discuss with our viewers, which topics that are intended to enlighten the public. So if you haven't been with us for since 2 weeks now, or you haven't been with us in the last 3 weeks, I would suggest that after you watch this video or before you start with this video, you should go back on our timeline, on our feeds, and go through the episodes that follow, the episodes that precede this particular episode. Why? Because for 3 weeks now, we have been treating one topic, and that topic is an act called Discrimination Against Persons Living with Disabilities Prohibition Act 2018. So we have been doing an overview of this act. However, okay, the act was supposed to take 3 episodes to discuss the entire act because it's a huge one. Unfortunately, last week we were supposed to discuss the third part, but we realized that last week Thursday was the World Day for celebrating the World Day for celebrating zero tolerance for female genital mutilation. So we had to digress here to talk on that topic, then move forward the part 3 of the Discrimination Against Persons Living with Disabilities Prohibition Act 2018. So we shifted that to this week. So this is the 4th week consistently I've been on air. Yeah. So 4th week I've been on air consecutively, without gap. So the topic is a very beautiful one. The act is a beautiful one. So if you have gone through it before, you would know that it's an act that Nigeria is happy to have, should be happy to have. So I don't know about everyone anyway, but it's a topic we should be happy to have. And the if all of us get to know about this act and its content, and of course help in implementing this act, is going to be we're going to go a long way in achieving our goals for 2030. So right now, okay, we've talked about a whole lot. Like I said, you can go back to the episodes preceding this one, to the 3 episodes preceding this one, so that you can flow very well with what I'm going to talk about today, because today is the part 3 and which is the final part for this topic. So today we are going to be talking about opportunity for employment and participation in politics and public life, as well as talk about the establishment of the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities. So now, a person with disability has the right to work on an equal basis with others, and this includes the right to opportunity to gain a living by working freely, chosen or accepted in a labor market and work environment that is open. Yeah, that reminds me. I was on a website yesterday or 2 days ago. Yeah, so I was happy. Like, I felt really okay. I liked something about the website. On the website, I saw the website is owned by DRAC. Yeah, DRAC, if I'm not mistaken. So DRAC is an organization, yeah, of course, that works with persons living with disabilities. Um, So I saw immediately I opened the website, I saw a picture. So the picture is an animated picture anyway. So it spoke about the fact that persons living with disabilities are not disabled by what they are living with, but they are disabled by what the community, the society has made available to them. So that was beautiful. And it was buttressing what I had said like 2 weeks ago when when I started talking on this topic. So like 2 weeks ago, I said something about that, and I learned that from my boss. My boss said disabled persons are disabled not because of what they possess naturally, not because of their physical appearance or their physical inabilities, that seemingly inabilities, yeah, but they are disabled because the society has made them disabled. So when I saw that picture, I'm like, wow, this is passing a very strong message, and that is the truth. So someone who doesn't have legs is not disabled because he doesn't have legs, but is disabled because the community, the society, we have refused to not discriminate against them by providing everything necessary for them to use, and for everything necessary for them to use and access the public structures and facilities. So no fingers are equal. Everyone is distinct and pure and true to himself or herself or her creativity and whatever he or she possesses. So if we are talking about equality in the society, fair treatment, we should be looking at providing equally for everyone without discrimination. So where the government provides public structures for a particular kind of people, that is discriminatory. And this act, of course, in details has spoken about that, is talking about that. And this we discussed, I think, 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. Yeah. So you should, if you are just starting with us on this topic today for the first time, I would suggest that you go and look at the preceding topic, the preceding episodes. Yeah. So talking about this, every disabled person has the right to work on an equal basis with others. This includes standard of work, um, the means of work, and every other thing that has to do with the labor market. So it is very, don't you find it disturbing that you can visit 20 public offices and see no one person living with disability in there? I find it disturbing if you do not. I find it really disturbing. These people are integral parts of us. So why would we exclude them deliberately? Why would we? Even ignorance would not permit us to use its name as an excuse. There is no excuse. Going forward, a person who contravenes this commits an offense and is liable on conviction to nominal damages, of a minimum of 250,000 naira payable to the affected person with disability. In a situation where it is contravened by a company, the company commits an offense and is liable. Sorry, we did not say a wrong. It's an offense. So you see how seriously the government takes this, and is liable to nominal damages of a minimum of 500,000 naira payable to the affected person with disability, and any principal officer of that company involved in violation is liable to 50,000 naira damages payable to the affected person with disability. I don't know why I keep saying charges. Maybe I'm really happy that it's I don't know, there are damages and there are fines and punishments involved. Yeah, so all employers of labor in public organizations shall, as much as possible, have persons with disabilities instituting at least 5% of their employment. Wow. I'm going to read this again. All employers of labor in public organizations shall, as much as possible, have persons with disabilities constituting at least 5% of their employment. So, before the enactment of this act, was it that way? Largely no. So now the act has been enacted. Is it that way now? Largely no. So, well, we're going to talk about later. So, persons with disabilities shall be encouraged to fully participate in politics and public life, Government shall actively promote an environment in which persons with disabilities can effectively and fully participate in the conduct of public affairs without discrimination. Non-governmental organizations and associations concerned with the public and political life of the country, and activities, administration of political parties. So, in general, everything that a seemingly abled person, every opportunity that a seemingly abled person can have should be made available to a seemingly disabled person. So we're going to shift over to establishment of the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities. So the Act gives approval for the establishment of the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities, which is placed under the Presidency. The Act also approves for the establishment of a governing council, which shall oversee and conduct the commission stated above. Removal and recommendation of persons in these offices is by the President. Appointment of the council chairman is by confirmation of the Senate anyway. So looking at all this, okay, I think we are done. So we are going to shift over. At the beginning of this whole topic, I talked about the fact that at the end of treating the topic, the act, I'm going to talk about things I feel do not go well for me with the act. So this is where we're going to begin. So first of all, I don't like the fact that the presidency is in charge of establishing the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities. I feel it's a kind of there are a lot of the presidency is giving so much powers. Anyway, maybe I'm looking at this thing based on the situation of Nigeria at the moment. Okay, maybe that is the fact, but personally, I don't feel that the presidency is the one who who this power or to establish the National Commission should be given to. I don't know why I feel that way. So I feel another thing I feel about this act is that I don't see anything about National Orientation Agency. So I feel the powers and functions of the National Orientation Agency is greatly undermined. I think so. So I think they are disenfranchised. The agency is disenfranchised and not given as much opportunity to do what it ought to do. Really, what does the National Orientation Agency do? I think this is part of something they should see through. So, by total scrutiny of the foregoing provisions of the Discrimination Against Persons with Disabilities Prohibition Act, one can see the seats where the enforceability of this act is centered. Then, I also sorry. So, okay, like we were saying, before the act, 5% before the act, of course, a lot of things, before the enactment of the act, a lot of things have happened um, negatively to persons living with disabilities. And the act is majorly talking about public. So I want to believe that okay, well, maybe at the moment we shouldn't be talking about private, but looking at international best practices, it is highly acknowledged outside Nigeria and in the western part of this world that even individuals as members of the society have a duty to give back to the society. How can you give back to the society? Persons living with disabilities are integral parts of the society. How can you give equally to the society without discriminating against persons living with disabilities, persons with disabilities rather? So I want in a few months, years from now, I want us to begin to talk about how private institutions can be mandatorily um, mandatorily made to also significantly put into consideration the welfare of persons with disabilities in what they do. Because whether privately you're building structures for the public use, for the society to make money out of it or whatever, I think it is also discriminatory that you get to provide, for instance, you build you build stationary, you produce stationaries, or rather, better put, now part of the act talks about the fact that every public employer, all employees, sorry, let me quote, let me read verbatim from what the act says. All employers of labor in public organizations shall, as much as possible, have persons with disabilities constituting at least 5% of their employment. So I want us to be very soon to begin to talk about the fact that, so if you are an employer of labor, of course, not with the government, a private employer of labor, I want us to start big from some months onwards. I want us to start talking about having conversations around making it mandatory for these persons to also employ persons with disabilities. I think those are just the few concerns I have with regards to this act. So, in conclusion, finally and truly, really and truly, the establishment of the Discrimination Against Persons with Disabilities Prohibition Act 2018 has put the nation a step forward into achievement of our economic goals for 2030. As without full integration of every person, with exception to no one, in the nation's social curriculum, the country would be missing out on a lot of successes. I analyzed this on the first day, the first part of this, the first I took the first part of this topic, where I described persons being created differently, distinctly, purely, truly, and with distinct abilities and qualities. So you now disenfranchise this particular set of people because with your human eye you feel this and that, they cannot walk, they cannot see, then you are obviously removing, setting aside a huge part of the nation's success to die. So that is all, and like we know, I'm going to close this part with something very short. So, and that is, every individual is distinct, pure, and true to the achievement of any goal. Even talking about outside Nigeria, every individual, I'm going to say that again. And persons with disabilities are integral parts of our society. So thank you so much for being with me these 3 weeks, and I hope that next time you're going to join us for other beautiful topics that would of course enlighten your mind. And please, we would really appreciate comments. Please comment, ask your questions, tell us what you feel. Let us rub minds. We can rub minds live, live. We can rub minds outside the camera too. So please, I will be really glad to respond to your questions, your comments, and of course, like I said, rub minds. Thank you so much, and please do have a beautiful afternoon, evening, and of course, the rest of the day.